It's alive. The old touchscreen was jumping around, like random pressing buttons, and you can see that it's delaminated up here. So I think that's a fairly common problem with these, because that part was readily available on eBay, and of course there's YouTube videos out there about how to change it. And when I first installed it, it didn't come on or anything, but literally just now when I went to back the car out, the backup camera came on and it started working. Okay, there's been quite a bit of progress since the last update. After you last, I still needed to finish up the left front brakes, which are now done. When the hose came in, I installed it and bled the whole thing. And I moved the car, and I uncovered a couple of leaks, got that done, got that all rebled. And now I think the brake system is solid and ready to go. Let's see. I put the hood on so I could work on fitment, but also our engine compartment's looking pretty much done except for the cowl and the wipers. So progress there. Been getting to work on some of the interior stuff. Last time I moved it, I was sitting on my leg so I could see where I was going, but now we have seats are installed, and I also got the passenger door together. The window motor, which wasn't working before, now with all the systems intact seems to have been working. I had taken it apart when I was troubleshooting, and I had put this part back together the wrong way over there, but I've since corrected that and it's all back together. Everything's fine. Also did the rebuild on the touch screen, and that seems to be working fine. Horns, the airbags installed. I had to take that out once because I didn't have the connectors snapped in all the way, and the airbag light is still on. That part I was able to fix, but these I did not. Despite these not looking deployed at all, they must be bad, so I've got to send some in for service. But well, and also you see the driver window comes down like it's supposed to, but then it won't go back up, so I don't know exactly what's wrong with that. On this side, see how it just snaps that window down just a little bit, and when it closes it goes okay right back up. So there's some sensor or something that's incorrect in that door. I also have to deal with this door. I worked on alignment this week and I got everything lined up pretty good, but what I've done is I must have rotated the door a little bit this way, because this guy is getting away from the seams up at the top now, which it didn't before. And also installing the window is uncovered that I still have work to do here, because there's a gap. I can't have that, so I'll have to adjust that inside metal edge there to pull this over to the window, or bring the window out yet. I haven't figured that out yet. So I don't know. Just thought I'd bring it out in the light and take a look at it. There's still more work to do to get this lined up right. I think it's hitting here. I can't get this to come back far enough. These tape spots are from where I'd been pounding on it, trying to minimize the damage to the paint. So the door opens and closes okay now, but it's still kind of tight, and I feel like this still has to come up just a little bit more in order to get this line and this line completely aligned with each other. And there'll be a lot more small things to pick at here before we're done, but it's very exciting. It's starting to look like a car again. I also forgot to mention that this replacement seats I got are from a plain SXT, and this car is the SXT Plus, which pretty much means that I have an extra plug here. There's nothing for it to plug into. This plug, I believe, is for the heated seats and the vented seats. So I'll have some decisions to make about whether I want to try to transport that stuff over, but it's not necessary in order to get the car running. When you're putting the door back together, this is what it's going to look like just before you put the trim panel on. It's important to get this guy, and for sound deadener, and also it seems like it's a little bit of water protection for that control module there. I'm finally got this door to the point where I think I'm about done working on it as far as structure goes. We have a nice fit here. There's a tiny spot there where it might be letting in a little bit. I'm going to let that heat up outside a few times and see if it settles down, but I think I got this fixed. I spent a fair amount of time earlier today bending the top lip here to get this closer, because it was a solid 1/4 inch away in the middle. So one of the tools I was using, hi buddy, one of the tools I was using was measuring this side, and I kept going, it's almost the same, it's almost the same. Well, now I'm looking closely and I see this side has a gap also from here to about here. I don't know if it's because it got readjusted down there, or if it's left over. This car was hit on this side before. This was, I believe, not unique to this accident. So one of those two things got my model off. But so this door has to come apart, and it's fortunate that it has to come apart because of that, because when I put it together, I forgot to put this piece on there. So I mean, it'll operate like this, but I now have 2 items to take care of inside this door to get it exactly right. That's probably after inspection. I've got inspection coming up in 16 days. We still got a ways to go, but I'm feeling pretty good about it right now. Well, I think I'm finally getting to the end of hood assembly purgatory, as I think I have this guy lined up pretty good all along here. Keep in mind that the gray part is just a little bit low, so that's not a problem. I've put some patches on, multiple patches actually, and a lot of straightening, and these two are separated from each other, so I had to bolt that back together. This is the main piece. There was a piece that just broke off, so I made a patch out of galvanized. That's done. Also starting to do work with the paint, and first I was just going to paint these sections orange and just let it be, but when I put it on there it just looked odd. So I put some light colored primer on yesterday, and so I decided to just thin it out with the brush a little bit and leave some brush strokes in there to kind of look like the scratches. That's about as good as it's going to get. There may be some rework, because when I originally put the black rust inhibitor on, it got back here and I didn't realize what I was going to be doing. So if I stretched that light colored primer out over this, I could cover that up much better. But even if I don't do anything more, it looks a lot more natural, like the crash patina, especially back here. This one maybe not so much because the color underneath is darker, and it's possibly because this fender was replaced. But anyway, whatever it is, it'll be better than just plain orange blotches in places where there's supposed to be damage. That's coming right along. So to finish the hood out, I've started cleaning this the old adhesive off. I've still got to vacuum that out and go probably one more time. Then I'll test fit the hood sheet metal to the hood frame, make sure everything's good, and if it all looks like it's going to line up okay, then I'll have to do my panel bonding adhesive procedure and just glue this whole thing down. I suspect there's going to be some work getting these to touch because the inside structure was bent up a little bit, and I'll want at least some of those to be making contact so I can glue them back down so it's not, so the metal's not moving around in the wind. Anyway, coming right along. Well, I had to spend some more time working on this hood, as after I had glued it together, this side was up about an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, and it was somehow attaching the outside, or the skin, to the structure caused it to warp a little bit. I really had my hands full moving this side down. Ended up putting it in a table and putting a ratchet strap across that side with a bunch of weight on it so I could push down on this to get it close. Right now it's within an eighth or so, so I want to wait till the bumper cover's on for real to make the final tweaks, but I think I got it pretty good right now. So also we have the wipers and the cowl are installed, cowl cover, so starting to look more and more like a car. Wipers are functional. I had a little setback after I got the seatbelt buckles back. I installed them, and lo and behold, the airbag light did not go off, and a new code showed up which said that the data log was full or something like that, and my computer would clear all the other codes, but it will not clear that one, so I had to send it off for a little bit of, or to get reprogrammed. It's in transit, so it should be back hopefully Monday or Tuesday of next week. Also, we got our stabilizer links are installed and the sway bar is installed. When I went to put the sway bar in, I realized that, or I noticed, I guess, that one of the sway bar bushings was missing. I'm assuming it got separated from the car in the crash. Not 100% sure, but it's sure not around here. So the sway bar's in place. When the bushings show up, I'll just have to back off the bolts and slip in the new bushings. It won't take that long. Also, all of the suspension components have been torqued down. All the control arms and the toe links in the back, and then I did a quick toe-in adjustment. It was only off by about 1/4 of an inch, so that was pretty easy. At this point, the only things keeping me from test driving it are that airbag module and what else was I? Oh, those bushings. So I would like to get the AC working. I've learned a couple things about AC, which I should have known. I should have done my homework beforehand, but this is the dryer, And apparently once the system's open, if it's open for any length of time, the dryers are no good. So I have a new dryer coming. I haven't evacuated the system yet, so I'll do that once it arrives. And I also want to try to get some clear onto this metal, because this was hiding in the trunk and didn't really get rained on. So I'm assuming that a lot of this is bare metal and it's going to rust if it rains. So I'll try to get that one done before I've got an inspection coming up on Thursday. Take it up to the Ohio State Highway Patrol, and this is Saturday, so I have a few days. You know, I have some time to get those things taken care of. Also, I can't put in the front inner fenders because they hang down right here, and the wind will be pushing them into the tires. Since I'm planning on not taking it with the bumper cover, as these parts are still on back order. So hopefully next time I'm rolling video or test driving it or driving it, or it's already done. After driving the car in for the first inspection attempt, I noticed during that drive the steering was not quite right. So I pulled the rack out and I'm looking at it because of this. That does not seem right to me at all. Okay, just a quick update on the car. We're now showing some mileage up to 78,043. Took it in for inspection on the 27th, and I didn't quite make it. I made it about 28 miles or whatever it is, and ultimately the differential, the half shafts came out of one of the half shafts came out of the differential, and I lost the drive. At the time I didn't understand, because it was flashing at me in the interior telling me that they couldn't put the vehicle in park because it was moving too fast, but I wasn't moving at all. So I assumed there was an electrical problem. I found a bad wire under there. I fixed that, and it still had the problem. That's when I went looking at the rear end and found that one of the half shafts came out and the other one was sliding out, but not all the way. Before that, I did evacuate and charge the AC, and I also found that the cigarette port lighter ports were not working, so that was fortunately just a bad fuse. And the only other thing I got out of the drive is that the power steering is a bit bound up, and I had a clip about that because this part is moving around way more than it should. I actually think that this is the main rack gear is probably damaged as well, because this does not line up in the opening anymore. So I got a replacement one of these on order. I'll get it in the car, and I'm rescheduled for the 22nd for inspection. See how that goes. So the mounting brackets for the front bumper cover finally arrived, and you can see here this is quite wrong, because that should be a little bit further over. There's more work to do on that one. And this one, same kind of thing. It's a little bit high, so the whole bottom of the fender has to come up so that that piece can fit into that hole, and then we'll have it. So next time you see these fenders, I expect that'll be fixed. As it turns out, getting the brackets that are now inside the front bumper cover. To get them to line up to this turned out to be pretty much a nothing burger. They go in pretty easy. This tells me now, though, with the hood closed, that I'm just a little bit low on this side and a little bit high on this side. So the other thing is, I think when I snug this down, I'm going to find out that I'm a little bit close on this side, so we have to go back just a smidge on the passenger side. Let's see if we can get some of those things straightened around in anticipation that eventually there will be a cover on this. Okay, it's time for an update. I took the car in for inspection a couple days ago, and unfortunately, because of the missing front bumper cover, it failed. Everything else was successful, so I gotta go back on the 12th of August and I'll get it done then. I punted and ordered a new front bumper cover, so we're good to go from that perspective. I think I'm gonna paint it to match the car, and then if I don't like the way that looks, I'll figure out what crash patina was supposed to look like and put it on there. But it also shook out a couple of other problems. The stability control light is on again. It came on about halfway there, and about halfway home, one of the half shafts came out of the rear diff again. I really am questioning whether there were C-clips on those half shafts, so I will pull one out and take a look at it. As you can see from my walk around, I'm done with the paint touch-up. I got clear on all of this. There were a few places where, like here, I had to. I sanded it in order to. I'd put some primer here by mistake. I thought I needed rust inhibitor before I figured out this was aluminum. So I put some primer over it and I just sanded it. Took some 40 grit to it. There were a few other spots here where using the 40 grit on the top really helped improve the look and still allowed me to have some paint over that. Also, from the last one, the videos directly before this are about the power steering rack. Well, I bought a junkyard rack, fetched that and installed it. I also took my scan tool and one of my spare keys from my Challenger, or from my Charger parts car, and I was able to program that in. I think I've got a few more things to do, but we're very much in shakedown mode right now. I was hoping that this car was just going to be stable and I was going to drive it, but I found a couple drops of brake fluid under the ABS unit, and one of the lines is a slight seep. So I snugged it down a little bit more. I'm not sure it's fixed yet. I think as I drive it, the other issue I'm having is the Bluetooth keeps dropping. So I don't know exactly what's causing that yet, but I think the idea that I'm just going to be done with this car is probably a little bit premature. So I'm officially going to be in shakedown mode here, and we'll just keep going. Hopefully next time you see this, I'll either be updates on the bumper cover or it'll all be on the car. Okay, what we have here is a nice new bumper cover. Well, it's new, but I had to do a little bit of body work to it already. It had some nicks right there, and of course it didn't actually have the holes, but it had divots in it right here. and there's also a little flaw right there. So new does not mean bodywork free. Anyway, next time you see this, hopefully it will be matching the car. All right, the paint's still wet, and I think it laid down pretty good. Got a couple flaws in it, but for what this car is, it'll do just fine. I just hope the color match is relatively decent. Still got to clean up the gun. As you can see, the front bumper cover work is done. I had a heck of a time getting the thing on there. While this seemed to line up pretty good, when I actually went to snap the bumper cover in, it wouldn't go. I had done the passenger side first. I had to undo that, loosen it up, and get it to snap on there. Get that, and then the bolts that hold it, get that all lined up. Once that was done, the other side went through okay. Paint match is not super good, but I can't do a blend because I want to keep the crash patina, so it is what it is. I also, other updates, I spent some time fixing this seam. You see it lines up much better now, and also the seal piece is inside there. I couldn't find any realistic way to stick it in there without taking the fender off or bending it all up, so that's what I did. Also, other updates, the stability control has been repaired. I just moved the wheels this way on the steering rack to get the steering wheel to straighten out, and that fixed it. The half shaft problem's been fixed too. Not a lot to see there, but I just slid the CV boots 3 out of the 4 a little further to open up more of the metal in the middle, so the boots weren't actually pulling on it. And I've got over 100 miles on it since then. I haven't had any issues, so I think it's working. I did pull one of the shafts out just to look and see, to make sure that it had the C-clips, and it did. So that wasn't the problem. While I was at it, while I was putting the whole front together, I put in the inner fenders. We have still need a few plastic rivets here, but I have a new left front inner. Looking at the old one, I learned pretty quickly when I went to install it that about this much of it is just gone. It had been dragged along on the median. You can see the scratch marks there, and enough to grind a piece of it off. So I'm assuming that was left out on I-75 somewhere. Also, you'll be able to see here, actually now have a legitimate license plate on the car. I took it to inspection this past Monday, and it made it through, so I was able to get all the paperwork done and get my plates transferred over. We have managed about just a little over 200 miles so far. I've started using the car daily for a few little errands and things. There's still a lot of details that need to be addressed, but overall I'm gonna say this project is done. If you made it this far, thanks for watching.